Welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey, a weekly podcast featuring real and practical spiritual conversations from fresh perspectives here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Today, episode 268, Letting Go. And now your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Hello and welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host. I'm here today in 818 Studios with my producer.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Croft. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Authentic Spiritual Journey. As always, we want to be the first to welcome you to a brand new week and hope that you are doing well.
Yes, we hope you are. And self-admittedly, I'm a little tired today. It took me 3 times to get the opening right. We decided, okay, there's authentic and then there's bad. So we're just going to edit that out. But, the opening is so simple. But anyway, friends, welcome to the show. We're glad you're here. And I guess I'm already living the title of the show today, Dave, which is what?
It is Letting Go.
Letting go.
We are letting go of take 1 and 2. Takes 1 and 2 of our intro.
I'm letting go of needing to be perfect. I don't know if I've ever actually had that, but but I'm letting go of having to do it right the first time, I guess.
Right, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So, Dave, what show are we today? You probably said it, and I didn't even hear you.
This is show 268.
Wow.
268.
Yeah, this is big news, friends. I was listening to a show from a few weeks ago this morning, and gosh, I needed the show so bad myself. And I want to just share with you that virtually every topic I do is a reflection either of my process or of something several of my clients have been through. So I'm trying to bring it forward to help all of us. And, when I record it, I'm in a certain place and a totally different place on the journey, when I come back to it. So if you haven't gone back and re-listened to a few shows, I want to encourage you to do that. Also share them with friends. I could see how the show I was recently listening to about trusting the process could help you on something totally different, on a different day, depending on where you are on the journey.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so, friends, we are happy to be bringing you the show today. It is called Letting Go. And many of you know that over the course of my career, I've taught a lot about this concept, letting go. You'll hear me talk about release. I talk about it in a number of ways, on a number of levels. What I fundamentally believe is that we hold on to things that don't serve our highest good. Therefore, the topic, release, letting go, continues to come forward because in all of my work with my own individual journey and with people I work with all around the country, it seems to be fundamental in living an abundant life. It seems fundamental in living a life of peace and joy. Because when we're holding on to what no longer serves us, it requires this kind of energetic soup to kind of try to move through. In Georgia, many of you know I grew up in Georgia. And in Georgia, after a rain, if you go for a walk in the woods, you're going to hit some red mud somewhere. And that's kind of hard to get through. And this is how I feel about the emotional work when we don't let go or our attempt to control. We are, trying to slosh through red mud. And not only is it hard, we get dirty in the process. And so I wanted to return to this theme of letting go, maybe in a different way. I also wanted to give you some resources. I wanted to say right up front how grateful we are for your support. So we know that many of you are going down the road. You might be working around the house and wanting to listen to some positive music. So I wanted to give you several songs. You can create your own playlist on your own, should you choose to do that. But we are listing several songs in the show notes to support this idea of letting go. One is I release and I let go. I feel like letting go is another one. So we want you to just get these concepts so that, friends, this is not about, okay, I listened to this show one day and I did this one time and then I go back to life. The idea with the spiritual teachings and principles in the shows that I do are that these are more than ideas. They are more than spiritual concepts. They are spiritual practices. They begin as an idea and concept, but the ideas, as you hear them, as you begin to embody them, life begins to flow. Life begins to get better. Life begins to be more abundant. Life begins to be full of more ease and grace. This spiritual concept I'm talking about today is letting go. Letting go. I've worked recently with individuals who are struggling with illness. And by struggle, I mean any illness is a struggle because no one consciously asked for an illness. And the thing that seems to be the most difficult is letting go of the life they had before. Of course, I've been in a position where I was near death, and the number one thing was not the pain. The number one thing was not lack of energy. The number one thing is not knowing who will I be on the other side of this, if I ever get on the other side of this. So what we often do is hold on to a way of being, a way we think we need to walk in the world. And there's a whole new way that is trying to come forward for us. There is a whole new way that is seeking to emerge. Because you see, what happens as we're on the spiritual journey and we're growing, we're evolving, is that we can't do things the way we used to do them anymore. The old attitudes, the old beliefs that don't work anymore get to be a hindrance, not a help, in moving forward on the journey. So as we talked about in several shows, we've talked about faith, we've talked about, trusting the process over the last month. And part of trusting the process, as I was saying in that show, is, realizing that whatever's next for you is going to appear. So if an old way isn't working for you, an old way of doing, an old way of thinking, an old way of being, then you are going to be asked, not verbally, you're not going to be asked, although you may, by people that love you. In general, the universe doesn't work in verbal cues. You have to learn through, as a friend of mine used to call it, the school of hard knocks. We learn because what we're trying to do isn't working anymore. And this is when we have to let go. I was talking to my dear friend, Daniel Namod. This is, a couple of years ago. I think we were in the midst of COVID and all that. And I said, "How are you doing?" And he said, "I'm holding on by my fingernails." And I said, "Sounds like it's time to let go." And he goes, "Oh, crap. Yeah." And then he goes, write, 12 songs about letting go. But yeah, we hold on for dear life to something that isn't serving us anymore. And we all do it. It's something about being human, frankly, because it's what we know. It's our comfort zone, right? It's what we know. So as I've been called to step into new, work activity over the last year, I keep having to let go of a self-image. I'm having to let go of the way I've always been asked to show up over the last 20 years. I'm having to let go of a way I've viewed myself and my work, right? But the letting go is bringing new opportunity. The letting go is bringing abundance. The letting go is, frankly, very freeing. Because what I've realized is the ideas I've had about myself is a self-made construct. Yes, it's a combination of what others think I should be doing, probably. It's also a combination of that, what others think, what my family thinks, what I have been conditioned to think, that patterning and conditioning that happens when we're so young. We carry that forward in a really unconscious way. So I'm being asked yet again to let go of some of that. So as I'm saying this today, what I know is already happening is you're probably thinking to yourself, "Oh boy, I can feel I'm being asked to let go. I'll give you another, for instance. If you're a parent and your child is growing up, they're leaving the nest, or they're driving all of a sudden, or they're hanging out with friends all of a sudden, then the way you parent, the way you think of them has got to shift. It's time to let go. Now, it doesn't mean you're not engaged. It means the old way goes. The old way you are letting go of, and it's usually not an overnight process. Oh, my son's now doing all this, or my daughter's now doing this, or, my child is leaving for college. So, I'm just going to let go. It's not like that at all. It's usually a deep process. It's usually, there's a variety of feelings. As my son has aged and become more independent, I've been thrilled and happy. But is there some sadness there? Well, of course.
Yeah,
there's some.
Some grieving.
There's some, but mostly not for me, because I've been preparing for this for a long time. But it's like, oh, I really missed him today, or whatever. That's normal. But what a lot of us do is we start to make demands. We start to kind of crank down on our control. And that sends the kids, the spouse, the family running the other way, which is the opposite of what we want. So this idea of letting go, I know I kind of just jumped in, but I felt like I had a lot of energy around this today because I keep having to let go on a daily basis. I'm having to let go of expectations of my family around a certain issue. I'm having to let go of expectations of myself and what I'm capable of doing all at one time. I'm having to let go of expectations of people I love, just friends, that for whatever reason either have shifted or I've shifted, and something's a little different there. So I'm letting go on every level. And the amazing thing is, the letting go of my expectations, the letting go of a have to, has not led to more difficulty. It's led to freedom. And that is why I'm talking about it, is that the ego wants to, I often say, the lie of the ego is that if I let go, I'm going to lose everything. If I let go of my control, how is anything going to happen? If I let go of my expectations, will anyone be there for me? And if you have to force people you love to be there for you, well, then they may not be people you need around. And that would be good information. If you have to force people to keep their commitments to you, maybe you're learning something you need to learn. You see, so the letting go, in my view, kind of evens the playing field. Letting go lets everybody be, and it lets you be as well. Letting go is a spiritual idea. It is a spiritual concept, yes, but it is also a spiritual practice, a daily practice of letting go. Now, having said all of that, it doesn't preclude the need to set goals. It doesn't preclude the need to work on oneself. Letting go is mostly an energy. It's mostly an energy and an inner awareness. And I've noticed over the last year, as I've listened back to some of the podcasts, that the concepts I'm talking about are becoming more and more subtle. The one I was just listening to about trusting the process, I was talking about the stones I was working with. I was talking about working with the subtle energies. And this is what I mean about this idea of letting go of, yes, is more trusting the process, but letting go is often just an energy of allowing. In other words, it's removing force, it's removing have-tos, it's removing expectations that are unrealistic, from your vocabulary and from your energy. So, as a parent, you're going to have realistic expectations of your kids. I mean, I'm not saying have no expectations, or no boundaries. But what I'm saying is to do the inner work to see at 16, do they need what they needed at 13 or 14? At 18, do they need what they needed at 5? At 20, do they need? You see, so it's really just this inner awareness with how you approach the relationship. And if you can let go of expectations that they're going to do this, this, or this, because frankly, friends, by 16, by 20, your kids are on their journey for life now. They're on their trajectory. And the more you try to control, the less successful you will be. How do I know? Working with kids and parents, for years. I was thinking back because I had just heard about a youth ministry from my former ministry in Phoenix, and it was such a vibrant youth ministry. I mean, there were about 250 kids a week, and when I was at Unity of Overland Park, I had 150 kids a week, and so I've worked with kids and parents for a long time, and I'm amazed at how kids that grow up with some kind of spiritual awareness just tend to have this beautiful trajectory to their soul growth and journey when the parents can just let it be. It's like trusting that the God in them knows what their next steps are. So I'm speaking about this a lot because why? Well, my son is now 16. So I'm always and have always parented him in a way where it's like, okay, what does he need for his next step? Not what do I want him to do? Yeah, but what does he need to grow and mature? And what I know at this age is letting go. He needs letting go. It's like, go do your thing. I'm here if you need me. I'm right here, but go do your thing. Go do your thing. But I've even discovered, so I drive a lot. Many of you know that I also work in Tampa at Unity, North Tampa. And so my commuting has been a little intense lately because over the last 2 months, I think I've driven, an average of anywhere from 500 to 1,000 miles in a week. And I had an event out of town. It was actually for my son a couple weekends ago. So I had just gotten back like a few weeks ago from a family trip. Well, then this one weekend, I drove 6 hours one day, 5 hours the next day, then 4 hours the next day. So that from Friday to Sunday, I'd driven 15 hours. And what I noticed is that my expectations of other drivers began to be unrealistic. I was like, I'm really expecting people to care that I've been on the road for 15 hours and nobody cares. So rather than expecting other people to care, what do I need to take care of myself in doing this? Because there was no choice in the matter. It's my job and it's my kid, right? So I got to be there. So the question became, okay, how do I guide myself through this without just being totally angry, resentful, And that was just driving, friends. So these principles work everywhere. And what I noticed, as soon as I let go of my expectations of other people and did what I needed for me, everything flowed more beautifully. It's really an interesting thing, isn't it? But letting go is a powerful spiritual practice. And for me recently, it's been mostly about letting go of expectations of others and putting the attention back on myself. It's like, what do I need to be doing right now? They're going to do what they're going to do, and I'm going to bless that. But what do I need to do? Yeah. Letting go of expectations. Yeah, there was this old song. I was trying to remember who sang it. It's been on my mind all morning. The words are, I'm letting go of holding on. And then it goes, God is my shepherd. I shall not want. It seems like it's an old song. I'm letting go. Do you know that the song name?
I'm
Holding on.
I'm looking.
God is my shepherd. I shall not want. I'm letting go. I don't know. It's like probably from the 80s. So much of what I remember. In spiritual zone.
I'm not finding anything.
Yeah. I'm letting go of holding on. In other words, we're always talking about on the show, in some form or another, how do I grow, prosper, and evolve? And by grow, prosper, and evolve, we mean, how do I live from the level of the soul, not just from the mind and the body, right? And so when we're seeking to control what's happening next, we're in the ego, we're in the personality, we're in the body awareness only. And what we're seeking to do is live life from a higher realm, a higher level. And that higher level is one of flow, it's one of peace, it's one of joy, it's one of ease, it's one of abundance. It is one of being able to observe oneself in the process. So think about that as you're going throughout your day, like, am I trying to control this outcome? Now, again, friends, if you're a lawyer and you're working a case, obviously you want an outcome for your client. You want to do your very best to work on their behalf. I'm not saying we don't do that. I'm saying we give up the kind of control that, is trying to force an outcome, because it doesn't work that way. If I said, oh, I'm just letting go of traffic and I'm not going to drive to Tampa, I would not have a job anymore, right? So I'm not talking about that level. And that's what I mean about the spiritual journey, and also about the maturity on the spiritual journey. I know most of our listeners have been on the spiritual journey for a very long time. And as I'm saying these things, you're aware of what I mean. You are aware that every day we have an option. Are we going to live from soul or from personality and ego? And the goal, moment by moment, day by day, is to what? Is to live from the soul. Letting go is one of the classic ways and one of the most beautiful ways to live from soul, because you cannot control outcomes. And as I'm talking about letting go, it goes back to all these past shows I've been leading up to. It's about having faith in the invisible. It's about trusting the process. Letting go means I am trusting. Letting go means I know the universe is there for me. It's like God is my safety net. I know as I let go of this idea, or if I let go of trying to force this, something new will come forward for me. And that's where the trust comes in. But letting go is, I'm going to say again, it's an idea, it's a concept, but it is also a spiritual practice and a wonderful activity for moving your soul forward and for bringing more ease and grace into your life. It's actually easier to let go than it is to try to force an outcome.
By the way, it is I'm Letting Go of Holding On by Richard McDeckie.
Oh, McDeesey.
McDeesey.
Oh,
yep.
Did he write that?
Yeah.
That is sweet. Okay, I had forgotten that.
Yep. And so we'll have links to that in the show. And I think what would be cool, maybe if, because we have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 5, 6, 7 songs. Maybe you can put a playlist together in that people can just, they can add the playlist to their Spotify or something like that, as opposed to having, 7 different links. Oh,
yeah, that's true. Okay, yes, I will do that. And I'm going to write that one down about Richard.
Yeah, and it has been recorded several times, but according to the sheet music I found, and the lyrics are, I'm letting go of holding on, God is my shepherd, I shall not want. Mm-hmm. Letting go of holding on, seeking first the kingdom of God. I let go of the feelings that fed on lack and greed. I let go of the reasons keeping me in need. I let go of the fear that there's never enough. And I stop holding on to what is not love. That's it. That's it.
Well, I want to tell you about Richard McDeesey really quickly, because when I had first moved to Kansas City to go to ministerial school, and people knew I was a musician, because when I moved from Seattle, I was making my living as a musician. I was playing, I was teaching private students. I also went and started these programs at schools, and it was just, I really loved my playing and teaching career a great deal. And it was a pretty big deal to leave it, because I was playing professionally. Somebody said to me, "You're a musician making your living and you're leaving it," and I said, well, I'll never leave music, but, it was actually getting to the point in some of the gigs where honestly, I just wasn't having fun anymore. And it's like music needs to be fun for me.
Yeah.
And just feeling so called into ministry. Well, anyway, when I arrived at the Village or arrived in Kansas City, my first stop after groceries was to walk over to Unity Village and make my presence known because I was going to be taking classes and things, and I wanted to get to know people. Somebody said, "Oh, you're a musician. You need to talk to Richard McDeasy." I said, "Well, who's Richard McDeasy?" I didn't know. And he was in charge of music for Unity Village for the retreats and things like that. And I walked into his office and said, "Hey, Richard, I was told I need to meet you." And he goes, "Cool." And so he sat down and we started talking. And he goes, "Are you a musician?" I said, "Yeah, I play the drums." He goes, "You want to play this weekend?" I go, "Sure." Sure. So Richard had me playing almost immediately, joining him for the retreats and everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, spoken like a true music director right there.
Yeah, exactly.
You play? You want to play this weekend?
Yeah, what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, exactly.
So he and I did a lot of retreats together over the years. And then later I was a music director at retreats myself. Richard had decided to go be a minister himself and is now married to a minister as well. So he left the Village. And then when I was working in retreats, I took over. I was working with Sky St. John, who was the music director. And then I took over as music director for Unity Village. So that was a lot of fun to do that. And again, it's funny how that song triggered that memory that was one of the songs we did in retreats. I'm letting go of holding on. And I had just done such a powerful letting go of my old life that it felt wonderful to me to be there and support other people, on that spiritual journey, because it was such a big move for me in my life. So my question for you today, dear friends, is, what am I holding on to that really needs to be released? And remember that it could be an attitude, it could be a behavior, it could be an energy, it could be very simple. It could be also something very deep. It could be an addiction. It could be a hurtful behavior. It could even be a way of spending. Just think about, what are you being asked to let go of? And as I say that, I want to remind you that on the spiritual journey, we never have to wonder what's next. Whatever we need to be doing is up for us right now. And that's how you know you need to deal with it, because it's up for you. So I want you to think about that as you go throughout your day, throughout your week. What am I being asked to let go of? And just like work with that idea every day. And, many of you know, I work my goals every day. I read through them. I say them out, my vision and mission for my life out loud. I do all my work. And one of the affirmations I'm saying every day is, I let go and let everyone be. That's my process. It's so simple. I let go and let everyone be. In other words, I take all my attention off what I think others need to be doing, including people I love. And I focus on what is mine to do at this time to move my soul forward. And that's all I can do. That's all I can do. I know it's mine to get up and do the podcast, so I do that. I know it's mine I had rebranded my website recently. It looks amazing. That was mine to do. I know it's mine to build new friendships. I've been doing that. If I'm focused on what everybody else should do, I don't have time and energy to do those things. Yeah, let go and let everybody be. Just let everybody be. Yeah, that's my something I say every day. And it's a reminder to not try to control outcomes or have unrealistic expectations, that I am in the flow with what God is asking of me. And I know the right support, the right energy is going to be there. I absolutely know that to support me. I don't have to make it be there. I don't have to expect people to do things they're not capable of doing. I let go and let everyone be. So friends, for your journey, I support you in this. I'm sure you have to go to work every day, or I'm sure you might be dealing with a difficult family situation. Just try this, see how it feels for you. Let go. Let go. And remember, it is not a one-time practice. Like, I let go and I'm done. It's not a one-time practice. It is a daily idea. It is a daily concept. It is a daily practice. And it will absolutely support your spiritual journey and your soul growth as you move forward. So this is my prayer for you. And I will put a nice playlist for you in the show notes at Dave's recommendation. Thank you for that, Dave. And happy to provide you with that. And maybe it'll support your journey the way so many of these songs have supported mine. And frankly, the playlist is already done because it's on my phone. Yep. It's on my phone. I just now have to put it to Spotify because not everybody has an iPhone and can do iTunes. But we thank you for joining us. And we were going to do a shout out today. And I forgot, Dave, to do a shout out at the beginning.
Yeah. We just jumped on in.
Did you
want to give a shout out to a country or a city?
Let's do a city.
Let's do whoever is listening from Tacoma, Washington. Hi, Tacoma.
Tacoma.
Hello.
We loved T-Town, as my friend used to call it. Love me some Tacoma. All right, friends. Well, blessings in Tacoma, Washington. Go have a latte for us.
There you go.
And sending love and blessings your way. And we honor you and thank you for being a part of the Experience of the Soul podcast family. And of course, this particular show, The Authentic Spiritual Journey. So thank you, dear friends. As always, we are so honored and grateful for all the support, and we love to lift you up and support your journey along the way. So we look forward to seeing you next week, and blessings on the journey, dear friend.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Authentic Spiritual Journey is copyright 2023, Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission from RR Hot Publishing. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The Soulworks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. Soulworks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the Soulworks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.